Hello all, welcome back to the lecture series in Python, and in today's video we'll be talking about conditional statements, that is if, else and else if. And without dealing further, let's deep dive into the understanding of conditional statements. So first and foremost, what I'm doing, I'm taking two values x and y from the user, and if you hit shift enter, it will give you a prompt because I'm using the input function. So in order to understand, in order to have an understanding of input function, I have a detailed video regarding the introduction in Python, and the link is in the description below. Please make sure you watch that video as well. So here you enter 10, and then it will go to the next line, that is enter the value for y, and then we go 20. So currently, if you see the value of x and value of y, they both have, sorry, x has 10 and y has 20. Now let's say I want to see, I don't know the value of x and y, but I want to check which one is greater, which one is greater. And I will use the first control statement, sorry, conditional statement, which is if x is greater than y. So the way you write this is, first you use a if keyword, then you should have a space, or maybe it is not, yeah, it is necessary to have a space, or you can have like this. Okay. So basically, first you have a if keyword, then you pass your condition. And what if you do not pass the bracket? So this will happen. The if keyword will no longer be treated as if keyword. So make sure you pass your condition in parentheses. Now, at the end of this condition, you need to have a colon, and then you press enter. And as you can see, Python itself take 4 spaces over here. This is called indentation in Python. If you're coming from languages like C++, C, so you must have seen these braces in languages. So these braces in C or C++ defines the block of the code. So here Python gives a pretty much easy and convenient way to have blocks, but sometimes it's pretty difficult also to understand the blocks because they does not have any starting or ending. So now if you hit shift enter, you will have 4 spaces again, which is indentation. And then here you enter what will happen if actually this statement is true. What will happen if x is greater than y? So you enter, I will enter print f. I'm going to use f strings in Python. And again, in order to have an understanding of f strings in Python, I do have a detailed video regarding strings in Python, and the link is in the description below. So x is greater than y, but it didn't return anything because x is not greater than y. We know that 10 is not greater than 20. What if I change this value? X is less than y. Here I will use y is greater than x. So that way you can see the output is 20 is greater than 10. Now let's say I keep the value x greater than y over here. Let me just, yeah, copy it. I keep the value x greater than y over here, and I keep the statement as it is. X is greater than y, and then I print over this over here. So why I'm doing this is to make you understand how the control statement works. Print, I'm here, print, I'm at last. So basically, if you see this, x is not greater than y. So this particular control statement, sorry, conditional statement doesn't get executed. So if x is greater than y, it is false. So it will move to this, that is outside the if block. And outside the if block, we have print statement, that is I'm here. Then it will move to this conditional statement, x is greater than y. Since x is less than y, since this is true, we will move inside the if condition, which says y is greater than x, where 20 is greater than 10. Then after this statement is completed, we do not have any more statement inside the if block. So we will move outside the if block, and then we print print I'm at last. So that's how the basic control structure works in conditional statements. Now, you must be thinking, what if we have multiple conditions? You cannot simply going on writing if again and again. So now moving on to the another keyword called the else if, which helps you to add multiple statements inside conditional statements. I'm going to update this only. So what are we going to do? If x is greater than y, okay, then we print x is greater than y. Then we use ELIF. So ELIF simply means if this condition does not follows, if this condition is not true, we will move to this condition. And if this condition does not follow, you can have again one more condition ELIF. And if this condition does not follow, you can have one more condition ELIF. So ELIF will give you the ability to add as many conditional statements you want. Now, what happens? If x is greater than y, then this condition is true, then this block gets executed. If this is false, you move to ELIF. ELIF x is less than y, then move into ELIF block. And let me just execute it again. 20 is greater than 10. And let me just again change the value of x and y. 12 and 1. And now you see 12 is greater than 1. So that's how you can use if and ELIF keyword. But let's say neither x is greater than y, neither x is less than 0. Sorry, neither x is less than y, greater than y, neither x is less than y. So what happens after that? You can have a final condition. Let's say you add multiple conditions. Let's say 5 to 10 conditions you add in your conditional statements, and then those conditions does not follow. Those condition does not go true. What will happen after that? At the end, you can have an optional statement. Why I'm saying an optional statement? Because over here we didn't use else, but now we are going to use else keyword. So it's an optional keyword or optional statement to use. Print if x is not less than y and x is not greater than y, then they must be equal. That is the only possibility. So x is equal to y, and let me just have this 10 10. So now the x and y are equal, and if you see this condition does not follow, so we move to ELIF. This condition does not follow, so we move to the else part. So that's how you can use if, ELIF, and else. Now let's say you want to check if a person is 18-year older or not. Or let's say if you want to check if a number is even or not. So let me just add int input, enter the value. Let me just not name it even, instead var. And if this var variable is even, we will print out it is even, and if it is odd, we will print out it's odd. So in order to do that, if you divide any number by 2 and the remainder is 0, then it is an even number. So var %2 double equals to 0. So the percentage operator gives out remainder, that is the modulus operator. And if the remainder after dividing by 2 is 0, then it is an even. So print again s strings is even, ELIF %2 not equals to 0, then we print var is odd. So let's say I ent 10 is even. Again, I hit shift enter. 101 is odd. Okay, so this is a very basic basic use of conditional statements. Now let's say you want to check what is the maximum of two numbers. What is the maximum of two numbers? Let me just have a, b, c equals to 10, 20 and 30. 10, 5 and 9. So you can instantiate variables like this also. So the first value goes into A, that is 10. The second value 5 goes into B, and the third value, that is 9, goes to C. Now I want to find out, I have 3 variables and I want to find out what is the maximum of all. So how do I do that? First I check if A is greater than B, right? If A is greater than B and A is greater than C. So I'm using the AND operator in Python. So I'm checking if A is greater than both B and C. And if A is greater than both B and C, then A is maximum. A is maximum. Then I'm using another condition. If B is greater than A and B is greater than C. If this condition follows, that simply means B is maximum. And if A is not maximum and B is not maximum, then we'll have else print C is maximum. As you can see, and let me just, and now 10 is maximum, so this condition follows. Let me just change this value. Now 9 is maximum, that is C is maximum. So you can use logical operators, you can use arithmetic operators with the conditional statements. And let's say you want to find out who the maximum of two numbers. Here you can use ternary operator. So basically ternary operator looks like one line if and else statements, but they actually work like operators. That's why we call them ternary operator in Python. So what do I mean by that? It simply means if I want A if A is greater than B, else I want what? B. If you, now it's a 5. So this is basically kind of a one line inline statement. One line conditional statements. I did not use any semicolon. I did not use any kind of indentation. So basically what I'm doing, I want A. So how this is working. I want A if A is greater than B. Earlier when we use indentation, first we define a condition, then we define the statement or the output that follows that condition. But when we are actually writing in one line, first we define the output what we want, then we define the condition correspond to that output. So I want A if A is greater than B. If this is not true, then I want else B. Let's say I create a sample string. Not sample string. Let me just give you an idea of ternary operator. Let's say I create a variable called flag true, and I will use this flag. It will rain today if flag. If you see, this is an invalid syntax, but if I just remove this, again it's an invalid syntax, else print not rain. So this is, it will rain today. Because flag is true, it will rain today. And if the moment I change it to false, it does not rain. So basically here, if and else both are actually acting as operators. So that's why you can consider them as ternary operators. You can use if and else statements in one line as well. And you can use if and else statements in multiple lines as well. But when you use if and else statements in one line, basically it reduces the readability. So I will advise you to use this kind of structure initially, but when you are really good at conditional statements, you can go with one line if and else statements. So I hope you were able to understand the concept behind the control structure, how the if and else statement works, and what all things like arithmetic operators, strings, and logical operators we can use with conditional statements. Please give it a thumbs up if you like this video and share it with your friends so that they can also have an understanding of conditional statements and control structure. And hence it will reach out to more people. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.